an absolute sizzling week in the NFL we just had. I mean, NFL week number 4 had everything you could possibly want. It had some good performances, it had some bad performances, and it had some downright ugly and surprising performances. Man, oh man. Welcome back. Welcome back to another edition of The Good, the Bad, the Ugly. It is time to break down and review the action that just took place in NFL week number 4. So, without further ado, let's start the show. Welcome back. Welcome back to another edition of The Good, the Bad, the Ugly. It is time to break down the action that was NFL week number 4. I feel like there is a ton to get into. So we definitely have some things to break down. We definitely have some things to talk about. So, we're just going to get right into it, right? Hi, how's it going? I am Jacob Cutler, one half of the Sports Guys. And as always, joining me, he is the other half of the Sports Guys. You should know him by now, but if not, he is none other than Mr. Brandon Sullivan. Brandon, how are you doing, my friend?
Doing good today, Jake. Obviously, we had a better week this week, so both of our teams were able to get the job done. We'll get into a little bit more about yours, but obviously my team, no scares or anything there, just pure domination. So definitely a complete 180 from last week, so I'm doing pretty good.
Yeah, it was a much better week for yourself. For myself, it was okay. It definitely was not what I wanted, right? It was not, but I kind of expected it based on how we performed. But I'm still overall pleased with my team's performance. It was a good week. Good week for us, all in all, right? Raiders, 49ers, and Bengals all getting the job done. I like it. Getting off to a good start. But before we dive in to some of your thoughts and my thoughts on what we thought about last week, let's quickly remind people how we did because, we gotta flex our muscle a little bit. Another solid week for yourself, 12-4, absolutely dominating on those picks, 1-0 on your guaranteed victory. It was the 49ers, if I am not mistaken, absolutely handling a business, dominating. 30-13, handling business for you, getting you the guaranteed victory. And then for myself, 11-5, going 0-1 on my guaranteed victory, thanks to the JETS, or more like the SUCKS, the sucks. Yeah, you're going to let a little rain stop you? Can't believe it. Cannot believe it. Overall for the season, that puts us at, we are rolling right along for Brandon, 38-26, 2-2 on his guaranteed victories, back at 500, where he needs to be, looking to shoot in that positive direction, just like the overall record. For myself, 36-28, 2-2 on my guaranteed victories because the damn Jets let me down against the Denver Broncos. Cannot believe it. Let's wipe those off the screen and let's get into it. Brandon, what good do you got for me from week number 4?
Yeah, starting us off, I have Chicago's defense. They were dominant and they came out very surprising. So I was super, surprised by that. Obviously, DeAndre Swift having a big game too. Yeah. DeAndre Swift turning, obviously that's showing that's a good pickup for them there in the offseason. So I'm also going to go ahead and I want to mention Minnesota, even though the game got a little tight at the end, but they continue to roll.
Definitely did.
4-0. I think they got a little comfortable there at the end, but Justin Jefferson having himself a day. Sam Darnold also continuing where he left off. So moving along to but I also want to mention Jordan Love. I think they're going to be just fine. Green Bay, you're going to be just fine. 389 yards, very promising. Tampa Bay, pure domination. Baker Mayfield, 347 yards and 2 touchdowns. Houston was another one. Bright spot, CJ Stroud, 345 yards and 2 touchdowns. Nico Collins having a day, 12 receptions, 151 yards and a touchdown. Nico Collins, got to shout that guy out. He's putting me on notice. I didn't know much about him until these last few weeks. So moving along, also Washington and Jaden Daniels continue to roll, dominating Arizona. We both thought that we would beat Arizona, but they picked up right where they left off. Hey, the Washington Commanders. I know a couple years ago we called them the Washington Dumpster Fire Commanders, and now it seems that we potentially could have something.
They're rising up, dude. They're rising up, bro.
Dude, their stock is going up, right?
It's true.
Are the Niners back? The defense has stepped up. Fred Warner with the play of his life. Give him the gold jacket. That's exactly what Jake texted me. This guy is everywhere. Brock also looking good, making plays, just all over the field. Brock Purdy, we are stoked to have him. Baltimore and Derrick Henry. Oh my goodness, 199 yards, almost 200 yards for Derrick Henry. We knew that was going to break loose at some point.
Sure.
King Henry dominating, and last but not least, had to save the best for last. Detroit just looks like a Super Bowl contending team. Clicking on all cylinders. I love Dan Campbell. Just everybody played a role in this, and super happy for them. Obviously, we don't like Seattle, so
those unis. I mean,
Detroit, and I have to also mention, before I end, those are probably the dopest uniforms I've ever seen in my entire life. I mean, with the black helmets and the blue, I mean, I was just like, whoa. I was blown away, man. Like, good job. Like, we see a lot of these teams make these.
They were good uniforms.
Alternative uniforms, and they're no good.
Yeah. Brandon was loving those uniforms. I love them too. They look sick. I'm not going to lie. Man, what a week. Yeah. I mean, you hit on a lot of good things. I'm going to touch on somebody who just can't go away, dude. He refuses. And that's Mr. Joe Flacco. I mean, what is going on?
You were going to bring it up.
What is going on with Joe Flacco?
I knew you could not hold back. I knew you I just wanted to overlook that this week. Like, not even. I was like, please, going into this episode, Jake, do not mention Joe Flacco. I hate this guy. Just don't do it.
Hey, I got a question for you, though. Because it was a question posed to me. Are these veterans just that, like, unnoticeably good? Or is it the fact that these rookies are coming in and playing way too early and not developing? What do you think?
I'm gonna go with the rookies are coming in way too early and not developing. But you do have your caveats. You do have the ones where it's your CJ Strouds, your Joe Burrows, your Patrick Mahomes,
Daniels,
your Brock Purdy's. But I'm gonna go with that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how year after year Joe Flacco continues to look like a starting quarterback when if there was, if the quarterback play was up there, he would definitely be not seeing the field as much as he sees the field. But I mean, Joe Flacco, for whatever reason, continues to get it done somehow, some way, knocking off the Steelers there. Thank God. Did me a favor. I mean, Justin Fields did all he could to bring him back. That was a hell of a game, but the Colts getting a victory there. I don't know if it's so much good, but the Denver Broncos, I mean, all it took was Bo Nix to throw 60 yards with 1 touchdown to get a victory there in the Meadowlands against the New York Jets.
Typical Broncos score 10-9.
And it's a typical
10-11 was what we saw. Yeah.
Typical Broncos score for sure. The Buccaneers, you touched on it. I mean, like I like to say, Baker Bay. I mean, Baker Bay is alive and well. I mean, those Bucs are rolling. They had that one bad game. They really had that one bad game, but I mean, that's how you respond. I was kind of high on the Eagles defense. I did not think the Eagles offense was that good. I did think the Eagles defense does kind of hide some of the deficiencies in that Eagle offense. But Baker, I mean, just went to lunch. I mean, he went to lunch. He feasted on. He wanted to eat whatever he wanted. He got. I mean, Mike Evans was catching passes. Chris Godwin was catching passes. I mean, everybody was getting yards. Bucky Irving, the rookie out of Oregon. I mean, he was getting his yards. So, I mean, the Bucks are definitely a team to watch out for. There in that NFC South, and then the Falcons. I mean, what a game there. Again, I mean, we thought that was going to be a good game. And I mean, it was a great game. I mean, it really it was back and forth the entire way. I mean, the Saints pulling off that late comeback. And then, the Falcons doing what they had to do, to get that victory, to seal the deal. Drake London, I mean, the NFC South, it could be a very interesting division the rest of the season. Very competitive division the rest of the season. Bengals obviously got a big victory. Jamar Chase, back-to-back weeks of making massive plays for the team. Clearly, I mean, he did say that he put, the offseason, all that stuff in the offseason, put it behind him. He's just having fun now. I mean, clearly that's the case. I mean, he's absolutely balling. I mean, welcome. And Chase Brown needs to be the running back for the remainder of the season. Zach Moss can get, one or two touches. Chase Brown needs to touch the ball majority of the play at running back. He should not be out of the game. Chase Brown needs to be our running back. Raiders, right? Gardner Minshew, Gardner legend, somehow, some way finding a way to get it done. Yikes. I mean, we'll talk. I mean, they're going to kind of slip. We got one bad situation developing with the Raiders, but we'll see what happens there. And then, I mean, like you said, the Ravens, my God, Derrick Henry. I mean, I've told you this as long as you've known me. He is like my favorite running back and the best running back year in and year out in the NFL. It doesn't matter who steps up momentarily. I mean, Christian McCaffrey, right, is arguably, yes, probably the best running back when healthy, but Derrick Henry is 1B, that's for sure. I mean, an 88-yard burst or an 80-plus yard, I don't know the exact yards, I think it was 88, but an 80-plus yard run to start the game. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, it's a grown
incredible.
Man.
Incredible, man. Absolutely incredible. And then the Lions, I mean, like you said, Super Bowl contenders. Wow. I mean, just absolutely wow.
And how can you not love the Lions? I mean, no matter what team you're a fan of. I mean, they've been so poverty for so long, and that city and just the grit and, just the way they built that team. It's just, it's a storybook type.
Now, the Lions, that's the Lions' worst enemy is themselves. Their worst enemy looks themselves right back in the mirror because Dan Campbell has them doing stupid stuff in the most crucial situations. So let's see if they can reel that in when they make it to the playoffs, because they are going to make it to the playoffs and learn from it. Yeah. The Dolphins are just that bad. Okay, and moving on to the bad. What do you got for me? What just was bad, ugly? What stunk?
Obviously the Rams. Stafford had a bad week. This was one that I did not have on my bingo card. So I thought that the Rams were certainly going to win this game. I mean, they had some momentum after coming back against 49ers last week. And I thought that they would ride off that momentum train and go right into Chicago, because I don't think Chicago is good at all.
That was a big victory. Yep.
Definitely bad performance. And then obviously moving on to the Jets. I mean, this has got to be the worst performance of the year for them. 9 points. You get the ball back at the end of the game. You call your timeouts. They miss the field goal. You drive down and then you miss a field goal. I mean, anything that could go wrong for the Jets was going to go wrong. I'm surprised, though. With Aaron Rodgers, 9 points against Denver.
Yeah.
And like we said, it was a typical Denver score. Philly, just non-existent. They did not show up this week after a big win last week. They just struggled with Tom Brady in the house. Yeah. So not much more to say about that.
Yeah.
And then Cleveland not taking advantage of the Raiders missing pieces. Cleveland.
True.
Coming out laying an egg. I mean, you even said Cleveland, the Dukies getting lucky. They're catching some breaks here. And we both picked the Raiders last week. And, I wanted to kind of pivot after we found out that Devontae and Max weren't going to play. But, they found a way. So good
They
for
did.
them. They made some good business decisions on the field. The Chargers struggling the entire second half of the
Yeah.
game. They had 10 points in the first or second quarter, and they didn't score the rest of the game. So the Chiefs sneaked by again by one score, but we knew that they would probably win that game. And last but not least, the Buffalo Bills. I don't even know what I watched. Just an absolute terrible performance. I mean, that was one of the worst performances I've seen in a while. And this is where we're up here with them, and that's why it's like you got to kind of bring it back down, because it's very, we don't know what to expect with the Bills. I feel like they are just so consistently inconsistent.
Yeah, that's the line. That's your line. I mean, yeah. I mean, they definitely are. They are definitely one of those clubs. They'll respond, though. They will respond. The Giants, the G-men, not being able to score a touchdown is becoming a serious issue. I mean, they cannot score. They can only score field goals. They cannot put the ball in the end zone. Malik Neighbors doing everything that he could, essentially knocking himself out on that, trying to save the drive. I mean, Daniel Jones put the ball where it had to be. That was not on Daniel Jones. That was on Malik Neighbors. That was just an incredible. That would have been an incredible effort to catch that ball. The Giants. I mean, you got to score. You score one touchdown, you win, because that's how bad the Cowboys are this year. The Cowboys definitely are not repeating as NFC East champions. The streak will continue as for the NFC East, where they do not have a repeat champion. That's not going to happen. It's honestly at this point, I mean, the Eagles lost, but it's going to be the Commanders or the Eagles. I mean, the Giants.
I think it's going to be the Commanders.
I think so too. I mean, it's certainly not going to be the Giants. It's certainly not going to be the Cowboys. I'm not too high on the Eagles. You'll find out here in just a second. Yeah, I like the Commanders actually winning the NFC East, and I can't believe that. I mean, talk about it. You know, a second coming of RG3. Hopefully, they can protect him a little bit better. Overall, right? If he gets injured, don't throw him back out there and essentially end his career.
They got some good coaches over there too.
They do. Dan Quinn knows what he's doing. Dan Quinn knows what he's doing. What else bad? Where did we go from here? We wanted to go. Oh, yeah. I just said the Eagles. Jalen Hurts has a massive turnover problem.
Your guy.
I mean, the lack of awareness this guy has. I mean, I was texting Brandon when they were showing it on the red zone. He literally dodges a defender beautifully. Exactly what you'd want to do. The guy is still right behind him, and he winds up to throw the ball, and it's a strip. It's like, what are you doing? You just avoided him. How do you have the awareness to avoid the sack, not realize that he's still right behind you? Granted, I'm not out there. I don't have a helmet on, so it's not like I can see. But at the same time, it's like, come on, bro. Feel that. You got to feel that. You got to feel the pressure. So, Jalen Hurts... That Jalen Hurts, Nick Sirianni combination, it's starting to crumble. It's starting to crack, and it's starting to fizzle up real fast here. Howie Roseman might have to make a decision: Nick Sirianni or Jalen Hurts here in the coming months after this season.
Oh, you don't have a choice. You don't have a choice. You have to stick with Jalen Hurts. You paid him all that money. You don't have a choice.
It's true. And then. I mean, the Cardinals, man. The Cardinals. I mean, I don't know what it is. I don't know. I mean, it's their defense. It's garbage. It's that Commander's scheme. It's good. But I mean, why are you only good against the NFC West? You know, against other teams, very mediocre. Can hardly score many points, right? Against the Lions, had a hard time scoring. Against the Commanders, had a hard time scoring. I mean, you have Marvin Harrison Jr., you have Kyler Murray, you have James Conner, you have pieces. So just obviously the schematics, the scheme is not fitting that offense. It's not fitting it at all. They don't have an identity. They need to figure out who the hell they are, because the Cardinals themselves, piece-wise, they have good pieces. You put Marvin Harrison Jr. on another team, I'm sure that team is doing a lot better. So the Cardinals got to figure it out. They got to figure it out quick. They can't just be good against the NFC West. They got to be good against every other team in the NFL. The Bills, you touched on it. I mean, yeah, they got to figure it out. Obviously, it could just be a bad week. It happens. Any given Sunday. The Raiders, the bad for the Raiders this week is Davante Adams is going to be out the door. Question, where does he go? I mean, it's kind of obvious, the New York Jets. But Davante Adams looks like he will be most likely moved before the trade deadline. So we'll most likely see him on another team. And then my last bad ugly is the Miami Dolphins. You got to figure something out. You got to. You have way too many weapons. You have way too many pieces to not have a backup quarterback. You got to figure it out. Tyreek Hill is gonna leave. I mean, now there's rumors that the Chiefs might trade back for him, which I would literally throw up. I mean, the Dolphins got to figure something out. They have to. They have to trade for a quarterback. I mean, it's not even like an if. It's a matter of when. When are you going to make the move to bring in another quarterback? If Tua comes back, great. Go get yourself another quarterback who can save the season, because I'll tell you what, another bad season due to a quarterback injury, Mike McDaniel's seat is going to be on fire next year. And they most likely will move on from him if he can't produce. So the Miami Dolphins got to figure it out. They got to figure it out. And then anything surprise you this week?
Just a few I already touched on. Obviously, Chicago beating LA.
That was surprising.
That surprised me.
Yeah.
Denver holding the Jets to 9 points. That surprised me. Baltimore dominating the way that they did. That surprised me. I didn't think I thought it would be a closer game than what it was. And then to be honest, I mean, I didn't think I was going to come on here and say this, but the Seahawks performance, they played a little bit better than I thought that they would. So, I don't think that they're this great team, but I do think that they're a little bit better than I thought. So,
yeah, I mean, shout out to Jared Goff. That was surprising. 18 for 18. Absolutely unbelievable. Not getting a game ball because Dan Campbell didn't know what he was perfect. 18 for 18, which I thought was funny. And Jared Goff obviously laughed it off because it is funny. But yeah, I mean, Jared Goff. Wow, that was surprising. I mean, the Cowboys-Giants game, as bad as it was, that was kind of surprising. I did think that Dallas was going to be a little bit better, but now with Micah Parsons going down, D-Law, right, DeMarcus Lawrence going down for it looks like a while now. I mean, yeah, Dallas is. We'll see. I'm not going to say they're done, but they're fighting an uphill battle. They are fighting a massive uphill battle. The Rams, you touched on it, right? The Bears, you brought them up. The Rams, that performance was definitely surprising to me. The Eagles, the Buccaneers, that was surprising to me. I did not think Baker was going to absolutely steamroll the Eagles. Did not think that was going to happen. And then, I mean, the Lions and the Seahawks, man. That was a great game. Wasn't so much surprising as much as Jared Goff's performance was that surprising, right? With especially cap it all off with that receiving touchdown. Definitely some good stuff. Definitely some good stuff in week number 4. All right, let's move on to Brandon's best and worst performances from week 4. Brandon, all you, my friend.
Best performer, I got to go with the man you just mentioned, Jared Goff, a receiving touchdown, a passing touchdown, 18 of 18. This is the best completion percentage ever as far as with 18 or more throws. 292 yards and also a passing touchdown. So Jared Goff delivered. They played excellent, and 42 points. They dominated. He found, Amon-Ra St. Brown for a really good touchdown. I mean, he was just efficient, but also dominant. So I love Jared Goff. I always have. I wanted the 49ers to draft him out of Cal. There was a little, probably glitz when he was on the Rams. I didn't necessarily like him because I don't like the Rams. So anything I did say, let's not hold that against me, because I say that about the Rams and Seahawks quarterbacks all the time. So Jared Goff dominating, and then the worst performance.
Yes.
You already touched on it, but I'm going to do I'm going to do two.
Okay.
I'm going to do Jalen Hurts and his turnovers.
Yep.
That was a just terrible performance for a guy who's getting paid as much money as he is.
Yeah.
And the Jets. I mean,
yeah.
The Jets 9 points is just unacceptable. It's unacceptable to put up 9 points at home. You can't do that.
Yeah. I mean, so my best performances this week, obviously, I mean, Jared Goff, you kind of have to put up there. But I'm just going to throw out two more. We're going to go Baker Mayfield. 30 for 47, 347 with 2 touchdowns. I mean, an absolute dominating performance, getting anything and everything he wanted against, that Eagle defense. I mean, he absolutely, like I said, he feasted. He absolutely feasted. And then, I mean, you got to shout out, and I'm a little biased, but I mean, Joey B, baby, he's having a quiet, just a quiet MVP-like season. 7 touchdowns, only 1 interception so far. That 1 interception against the Panthers was kind of ugly. Ignore the record, 1-3 now. But Joe Burrow having a silently really good season so far to start. So I will take that. My best performance I'm going to give, obviously, aside from Jared Goff, because you got to give it to him. I like Baker Mayfield, absolutely dominating the Eagles. Worst performance, nailed it on the head, baby. Yeah, the entire Jets team, not even one player, just the entire Jets team. My worst performance of the NFL week number 4 season. That's going to do it. That is going to do it for this edition of The Good and the Bad, the Ugly. Yes, we are done with NFL week number 4. We are on to NFL week number 5, which means we got our picks episode up next. It's going down. It is going down. Thank you for joining us. Brandon, any last words for the people?
Let's keep this momentum going now. We both got to win, and so let's try to build off of that, because it's early in the season, but like we said, these losses, we got to avoid them. So 2 big games coming up this weekend. I will be in the house. I will be going to Levi's to watch the 49ers play the Arizona Cardinals, hoping that, it's going to be a hot day out there, but hoping I can bring some. And then obviously I'm hopeful for the Bengals as well.
Yeah, I mean, the Bengals got a big game this week against the Ravens. Like I said, the Cardinals can't just play well against the NFC West. They got to play well against the rest of the league. So hopefully the Niners can just douse the Cardinal fire even more, clip those wings, as they say, so they become a flightless bird. No offense, Cardinal. I mean, you're a beautiful bird, but those Cardinals, they're going to get clipped, right? So we move on. We move on to NFL week number 5. That is going to do it for this edition of The Good and the Bad, the Ugly. Yes, thank you very much for joining us. I am Jacob Cutler, one half of the Sports Guys. He is Brandon Sullivan, the other half of the Sports Guys. And until our picks episode, Brandon and Jake, we're out.